Welcome back to Tech at Work on CNBC Africa. Now, if you'd like to contact us or have any suggestions for the show, simply send us a mail to tech@cnbcafrica.com. Netcash is a private bank-type solution for small and medium-sized businesses. Their service offering includes debit order facilities, credit card payments, etc., which are critical to cash flow management and the success of SMMEs. Here's a look at the topic. Charles Pittaway, the CEO of Netcash, thank you for joining me on Tech at Work.
Pleasure.
We're talking about Netcash. Give us a little explanation. What is the service essentially?
Netcash is commonly known as a SaaS provider, which isn't a fashion statement. It's an acronym for Solutions as a Service. And basically what that means is that we centrally host a number of solutions and services which our customers access via an internet browser or compatible device.
Now, one of your services is aimed at the SMME market. It's a type of banking service. Why was there a need to create this service?
I think a lot of the services in our country are geared at medium to large corporate companies, and what we found is that SMMEs really weren't serviced very well in specific industries, almost the Achilles heel of those industries. So what we needed to do was to find a cost-effective medium to present those services to SMMEs, and that was really how Netcash started initially.
So how does it all work for an SMME? How do they get involved with Netcash, and what are the benefits for the SMMEs out there?
Okay. I think the main advantages in the way that we deliver our services as a SaaS provider is that our customers no longer have the cost of ownership of software licensing or having specific software to manage their services. They don't need any technical skills or support to implement and support those services anymore. I think important in South Africa as well is the demographics. SMMEs in rural areas were not always serviced very well by software vendors or have maintenance and support issues in those areas. So being an internet delivered service, we can now service SMMEs across the country, and we have no restrictions on how we provide our services. I think also very important is that, and I lost my last point on that, sorry.
No worries. But you're talking about the rural communities and the rural SMEs out there.
Yeah.
How do you get to them and really provide that service to the best of your ability?
Okay.
Because it is quite a challenge, essentially.
Absolutely. The delivery platform allows us to give them access to the service. I think the advantage that we have is that all our customer service, training, customer support is centrally located. So in other words, we provide best practices from one location to clients around the country. I think our reach to those clients really over the last couple of years has been that the service delivery and the level of services that we've delivered to them has meant that customers have spoken to each other, and the majority of our customers now come to us through referrals.
Now, when we get down to the mobile banking side, I mean, what type of technology is utilized by Netcash for the mobile banking?
Mobile banking is a very new technology that's been used by the banks. Up until now, it's been very focused on the consumer market, whereas all our technology is really focused to the business, focused at the business, and mobile banking would really just be an extension for us to their Netcash account. So in other words, being able to look at balances, movements on accounts, payment histories of customers. So we're really just going to be using mobile technology for them to be able to access services that are already on their account.
Now, for the consumer to get the best of the Netcash service, broadband would be the key aspect. And now we know that broadband in South Africa is a bit of an issue at the moment. How has Netcash dealt with this, and are you putting into place certain strategies that will help the consumer who hasn't really got all the broadband that they require?
I think there are a lot of internet services available now. I think the mobile companies have made, through 3G and a number of other services, really that any Netcash service can now be delivered from a multitude of devices and connectivity. I think the real exciting thing for us is this year the arrival of CCOM and one or two other undersea cables, which I think many companies may use to deliver additional rich media sources, content services. I think from our point of view, it's just going to make our companies even more accessible to our services. And traditional services, accounting, HR and payroll services, which were previously done on desktop software, will now be able to be accessible via the web.
Now, when we're dealing with the web and when we deal with broadband, security is always a risk. What precautions do the consumers take, or has Netcash taken to ensure the utmost of security?
I think from our point of view, we were lucky enough that our initial services were transaction or banking related services. So we referred to services like debit order collections, EFT payments, credit card processing. And the advantage or the experience that we gained from that was that our technology had to be based on the strictest security measures that were laid down, or the platforms that were being implemented by banking systems. So our access into the banking system had to be vetted, and how we transact within the banking system had to be vetted. So any additional services we've added onto that platform benefited from those security advantages that we deal with. Obviously, we do advise and teach our clients about how to take measures on their side and on their networks to make the transacting secure as well.
Charles, you mentioned that Netcash is reaching out to the rural communities in South Africa, the SMMEs in South Africa. Is there maybe a movement forward to the rest of Africa for Netcash?
I think we will. I think, the market in this country is still very untapped, in the sense that the focus of large businesses and corporates have never really been towards SMMEs. There's been a lot of red tape for them to access various banking services, etc. And I think our focus for the next couple of years will be to make those available locally and to add additional value-added services to the local market before we explore across the borders.
Charles Pittaway, CEO of Netcash, thank you for joining me in Tech at Work.
Thank you very much.
Robots may one day take over the role of teachers in some classrooms if a test at this Japanese school proves successful. Students at the Kudan Elementary School in downtown Tokyo were told a special lecturer was due to come in to help teach them through their day's science class. But few expected the teacher would need 3 grown men to help her up to the podium, or need special programming to talk. Saya, the substitute teacher, is a robot. But Saya was not always a teacher. She began her career as an Android receptionist at Tokyo companies before being reprogrammed to teach children the joys of new technology. Built by Professor Hiroshi Kobayashi of Tokyo University of Science, he says she is not meant to take away the jobs of teachers.
We are not looking at making something that will take over teachers, but rather our main reason for building this robot is to use new technology to teach children about technology.
But Saya may be able to help in schools where there's a shortage of teachers, he added.
In the countryside and in some small schools, there are children who do not have the opportunity to come into contact with new technology, and also there are few teachers out there that can teach these lessons. So we also hope to be able to develop this robot so it can be remotely controlled to teach these classes.
Saya was a hit with the children. Many had their eyes glued onto her throughout the lecture. 10-year Nanako Ijima thought the robot lecture was more entertaining than her usual teachers.
It's so much more fun than regular classes.
Most were mesmerized by the real-life appearance of Saya.
It was great seeing the robot moving and speaking.
The class teacher, however, was not convinced Saya was ready to go full-time.
I think on one hand, I'm impressed that they've got robots to go this far. But on the other hand, they still have a long way to research before they create a truly robotic teacher.
The curiosity of the children did not stop after the class. Children went up close to their teacher and spent time pinching, prodding, and poking her face. Well, that's all we have time for, so be sure to join me again next week on Tech at Work. Tune in to Tech at Work as we make technology work for you.